religious ideas, I think I could produce a kind of Darwinian explanation for why the human mind is friendly to religious ideas. And we, all of us, probably have certain elements. I mean, things like a tendency to obey authority. That might be something that we all have, whether we're religious or not. And sometimes a tendency to obey authority has, as a byproduct, susceptibility to religion. That's what I mean by the psychology being friendly to religious ideas.
Are there ways to get rid of fundamentalism by arguing the way you argue in your book?
I don't know. On my more pessimistic days, I think that there's nothing you can do to get rid of fundamentalism. Fundamentalism, almost by definition, means that you're never going to change your mind. You know what's true because you've read it in a holy book. Mm-hmm. But anybody who has the slightest inclination to listen to evidence and think for themselves, I think it's very well worth talking and thinking with them.
Mm-hmm. Lately I was thinking a lot about your argument that there would be no suicide bombers if we don't have religion. Now I wonder if that's true, because maybe you could call politics in a certain way a sort of deteriorated form of religion.
Yes.
If you say that, you might be right.
I mean, there is a problem there, because although the majority of suicide terrorism today is Islamic, we also have the Tamil Tigers in Sri Lanka, Ceylon, who it seems are not motivated by religion. It seems their motivation is political. In the case of the Japanese kamikaze airmen, I think you could probably say that what they were motivated by was religion. I think they did believe the emperor was a god.
Yeah.
So I'm not so clear about that.
If you get into this whole thing, which is called a civil religion, like, for example, the myth of America, like the Jewish Exodus tradition.
Yes, exactly.
So you have a lot of religious think models, I don't know what you might call them, metaphors, used in the political system. But wouldn't it be fair to say that part of the bad sides of religion are really religion taking by a political system and using it in a bad way?
Yes, I think that's probably true, and I think that's even true of non-religious dictators such as Stalin and Mao and Hitler, if indeed Hitler was non-religious, which is somewhat problematical. I think they exploited the religious impulse. I think they made use of whatever religion was going, Catholicism or Russian Orthodox, whatever it might be, to tap into the tendency people have to follow a leader, to obey authority, and patriotism, worship of the country, my country right or wrong. That's pretty close to a religious impulse.
Just in terms of being a pragmatic human being, does it make really sense to get rid of religion completely? Because if you would help like the liberal forces within Islam, you have to use religious argumentation in order to strengthen them.
Yeah, it's a very difficult question. I never know what I think. On the one hand, I understand exactly what you're saying. The right way to undermine the extremists is to make alliance with the liberal, moderate, nice, middle-of-the-road religious people.
Right.
And that could very well be right. On the other hand, you could say the right way to do it is to undermine the whole idea of religion, root and branch, lock, stock and barrel. And
which you yourself seem to...
Which is my way.
Right.
But some of my colleagues go the other way, and I respect them for it, and I'm by no means confident that my way is the best way. Perhaps it's good that I'm doing my way and they're doing their way, and perhaps between us we'll get something done.
Maybe my feeling is wrong, but in your book you're very polemic. Sometimes a bit too much to my taste.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that. I mean, you've obviously read it. I mean, many people who say that haven't read it, in fact. They've read what other people have said about it. But actually, I like to think it's a funny book. I mean, I don't know whether
it is. That's what a lot of people say. It's funny.
Yes.
It has funny parts.
And even the bits that sound polemical.
Yeah.
I mean, like the beginning of chapter 2, where I say that the God of the Old Testament is the most unpleasant character in all fiction.
You're probably right.
I mean, that's supposed to be funny because the word fiction is supposed to take you aback, because you're not, the Bible is not supposed to be fiction.
Right.
And then there's another sentence which goes on using rather kind of long Latinate words, filicidal, I forget what the other words are, but it's sort of it's a long list of terrible things about God, and the sheer piling on of the agony of how awful this monster of the Old Testament is actually does end up being funny. And when my wife and I are doing readings, which we often do in front of audiences, we kind of read alternate paragraphs. We always want to get a laugh early on in the evening because it breaks the ice.